here I am. So if I'm troubled, just don't let me know, okay? Just give me 5 stars as a review and just don't tell me. Because I can't afford any kind of therapy. Not again, because we've done that too. We don't need that. Welcome to my podcast, Sip and Sala, where we lift the lid, spilling the tea on all things marriage, womanhood, and motherhood. So let's sip some tea and pray we get through another day of this shit. Hi everyone, welcome to my podcast, Sip and Salah. My name is Aaliyah and you probably all know me from Salah Socials, or the girl, the mom, the wife off the internet, the crazy one. I know, you probably all know me as that one and not the lady from Salah Socials, but either or, my name's Aaliyah. This episode is purely going to be a bit of a debrief, a DL, a bit of an insight on what you can expect from this podcast and what it's all about. So let me just introduce. Episode 1 is called Who's That Girl? So, firstly, let me just start with the name, Sip and Salah. Sip refers to the tea that I'm spilling because I promise you, I have tea by the gallon and I'm going to pour so much of it on here, or spill so much of it on here, you're going to get a stomachache. And Salah, well, that's my surname, so we needed to use that. And plus it means prayer and we need a shitload of it to get through this. But right, my podcast. I made a podcast because I just wanted to give a brutal honesty kind of version of a podcast. I wanted to cover marriage, womanhood and motherhood because I feel like I've been through so much shit and I have a certain outlook or perspective on things that I used to feel like not many do, but now I'm like, wait, I feel like loads of us have been through shit, but just most of us don't talk about it. Or maybe it's me, I don't talk about it, but I feel like we could all chat about it together. So I feel like the shit that I've been through, you guys have probably gone through it or are going through it and you're familiar with it. So let's just chat about it together. So again, I'll give out those a debrief who don't yet know who I am or haven't yet seen our platform, Salah Socials. I got married at 19. Yeah, I didn't really value my time or my life, but that's just a story. No, I'm just joking. I got married at 19. I had 2 kids in 2 years, and the first one was 20 days into the pandemic. Now, don't even be like you set yourself. I did not. I swear to you, respectfully, I remember seeing women after me fully go into like opt to be pregnant. Like they did 6, 7 months in the pandemic of pure silence, isolation, and was like, fuck it, let's just have a baby. That was not me. I was not one of those ladies, I promise. I gave birth 20 days into the pandemic and that was 7 days late. So my due date was 10 days later or something like that after they announced nobody fucking go anywhere. So you can imagine. However, it turned out to be a bit of a blessing in disguise. I swear to you, it really did. But during that time, once my baby turned 1, I decided to then post a video which I would then post public instead of my usual private. And that video blew up. When I say blew up, it maybe got us 10,000 or 15,000 followers, but it blew up. At the time then, I'm basically, York's version to Katie Price. God forbid. But, So anyway, we now have a platform on Instagram and TikTok and a slight one on YouTube where we share our family, just marriage, couples. I speak a lot about motherhood on there. And it's kind of led me to this podcast. So with my experience with social media as well, as you can imagine, I've also experienced my trials and tribulations with that and some of the shit that I get on there. And you know what? This podcast is not just to answer to some of this shit, but sometimes you can't clear something up by responding to one comment. You can't sometimes answer everybody by, commenting back to one person or putting a one blanket statement out there because people just simply don't see it. So this is another reason why I wanted to make this podcast. I wanted to just tell my story in an honest way, which people could listen to and refer back to, and it's in episodes, so you can't miss anything that's related to that topic. So here we are. So I remember growing up and I remember just thinking, why is stuff like this happening to me? Like, why am I the only one? I honestly always felt like, why am I the only one? Why is it me who feels this way? Or, for example, in school, and it's like, wait, you get to the end of year 11, and it's like, they ask a bunch of 16-year-olds, right, everybody, what do you all want to do for the next 55 years of your life until you can all retire and get fuck all from the government as a pension? And everyone's standing there like, I'll be a vet and I'll be a teacher Now, I don't know if it's lack of imagination for me or just absolute realization, or maybe I'm just a problem child, but I remember standing there thinking, what the fuck? I don't know. Honey, honey, I don't even know what I want for dinner at the end of the week. Like, don't be so ridiculous. You're like, come on. We've all been, oh my goodness. And I remember saying, I don't know. How the fuck would I know what I want to do? And it was like completely like, oh, shock horror. This one doesn't know what she wants to do, but everybody else knows. Am I wrong for not wanting to know what to do? But then now I've grown up and now I'm like, wait, do then my kids will want to know what they want to do? If they tell me, Mom, at 16, Mom, I think I'm going to be a fucking, I don't know, politician, I'll say, that's lovely, but you should have three options. That's what I would say. Maybe I'm just too honest. But I remember all these kids like, I'll be a vet and I'll be an English teacher. And I'm literally sitting there thinking, you didn't even look what qualifications it requires to go to university. But why is this so socially acceptable? Why is it more socially acceptable to apparently know what you want to do, and those who don't know what they want to do, they're like the troubled one. Maybe, like I said, maybe it's me, or maybe I've got my people out there watching and listening to this, and they're like, yes, I was the same. And then also, I remember I did not want kids. Like, don't think like, oh, you didn't go around kids enough. I didn't want kids. I never wanted kids. I had nieces and nephews. I literally used to see especially my nieces, because I was a lot younger. And I had less responsibility as well when my nieces were born. But my nieces, I would see them minimum 5 times a week, every single week. No problem. But I definitely didn't want any of them. And then I got married and I was like, nah. And my husband was the same. He was like, nah. And then when I finally had kids, it was like, oh shit, am I maternal enough for this? And then even when I was being maternal, or what my instinct was telling me to do, it was like, is this maternal? And I was sick the fuck of everybody saying, when your baby comes motherhood, mother instinct just kicks in, or some shit like that. What are you talking about? When I laboured, I was already up for 36 hours straight. When I went into labour, that was my 36 hours straight awake. I laboured. It was crack of dawn in the morning. I did not want to lay in the hospital bed. So by the time I got home from all my labour and everything else, I'd been awake for, I think, 57 hours straight. Not even blinked an eyelid. So trust me, when I went to bed that night with that newborn baby, I didn't wake up for 15 hours. And what? And then I was like, what am I, a bad mom? No, I'm just tired, honey. I'm tired. And I'm sick of society making out like moms can't be tired because we have this fucking Bluetooth device in us that listens for this crying baby. Ciao. Anyway, I'm ranting now. And we don't want to rant because this is a nice, soft, smooth podcast. But yeah, that as well, it was like, what? And I remember speaking about that on the internet and people just being like, what? At first it was a bit of a shock horror, then it was like the DMs started coming in, and then after the DMs I think people got a bit more comfortable and the comments started rolling in, and it was everybody like saying thank you for saying this, like, why is it that if I said this I'd be considered mentally unwell, or have postpartum depression? Not that that's a bad thing, but people worry about that. And I just want to just cut the shit on that and say, nah, I believe we all feel like that, but I feel like as women, we just peacock. We peacock, I swear to you, even those who don't have kids, I can't stand it. Especially, what happens when women, especially like a bunch of mothers, go around each other. Let's say there's like one guy there. You'll always get one or two who try and do the most. They almost try and mother everyone else's children to prove they're the best mother. It's like whether that's consciously or subconsciously, but fuck me, man, just give it a rest. Like, give it a rest. Nobody cares. Like, no, genuinely nobody cares. But, I don't know, maybe it's just me, maybe I don't care, but I'll be honest, I'm fucking sick of it, and I feel like every time I talk about it on the internet, there's many other people who are sick of it like me, or the other shit that kids bring. So we'll chat about that too. But also, I came from a broken home, and honestly, like I said, I didn't have children for 6 years after being married, and I remember thinking, if I came from this that's broken, who am I to try and recreate it? And if I am creating it, is it right? Is this the example that I didn't get? Am I sending out the right message? And I've had a tug of war with that as well, I just, am I good enough to create a home? I don't know. I wouldn't know. I'm from a single parent household. So I've had my shit with that, and I'm still having my shit with that, and I'm still trying to find my feet with that. And I don't know. I really hope that my take and my experience that I do share with you guys, it does help or help someone else relate, because trust me, I've said to my husband many times, I think I'm broken. I think there's something wrong with me. And then he's like, no. maybe he's the reason I'm sitting here. Maybe he said staying Delulu is the Salulu, because he's like, no, many people. And I'm like, yeah, maybe. And he's like, maybe you should talk about it. I think he's like, talk to anyone but me. So here I am. So if I'm troubled, just don't let me know, okay? Just give me 5 stars as a review and just don't tell me. Because I can't afford any kind of therapy. Not again, because we've done that too. We don't need that. But again, if you didn't get the feel already, I want this to be a raw and honest take of podcasting, of sharing experiences, allowing you guys to share your experiences with me, and just speaking my truth to every single one of you and allowing you guys to speak your truth to me. Because trust me, although you're all listening to me or you're watching me, I want you to all to know, honestly, I am listening to you. And if you're watching, you're just simply nosy. You're just here to see what I'm wearing. And I'm never going to not miss on this. So if you're watching, you better subscribe purely for the outfits. Because I tell myself, I'm not going to sit here and slack. I ain't going to sit here like the other podcasters in their sweats. You know why? I don't know why. I'm just too much and too extra. I'm wasting everyone's time because most of you aren't watching, you're listening. But anyway, we'll move on from that. But again, like I said, I want you guys to also know I'm listening too. So in addition to this podcast, on whatever platform you are watching it on, whether it be YouTube or the other podcast platforms, I've also made a TikTok and an Instagram so I can pop some clips on of the podcast and what happened throughout the week. Maybe ask you guys some questions on what you want to hear, ask you guys what you thought of the last podcast, reach out to you guys if there's any questions or any honest or open, I don't know, chats that you want, because of course I'm happy to hear and listen and be some of your people's voices, of course. So go ahead and follow me on those other platforms. It's at Sip and Sala across all of them. Give me a follow and just keep your eyes peeled for what I post on there and any stories or engagement and things like that. And I might even, when we get a bit more of a platform, I will then go ahead and try and do a couple of podcasts live as well, because I know some people like to watch the podcast live. And again, this is all uncut, so I can't do anything with it. I don't want to do anything with it. I know that putting my husband in it for any occasion, I'll have to cut it because he has, I don't know why, but when he stands in front of a camera, he has no hand-eye coordination, and you're all going to be like, nah, I've seen that guy dance. No, that's the 57th time he's made me do it, because I would have done it the first time and posted it, but he is certain Ashley Banjo is watching him and going to ask him to be a backup dancer, so he makes me do it 10 times. So yeah, if you see any cuts when he's on this camera, it's because he's like just away with the fairies, but that's what happens when you marry someone who's your polar opposite. So yeah, I want it all to be completely uncut. So like I said, you will see everything if you're watching it, and we can maybe do one live once the platform grows. But again, like I said, this is purely an introductory episode on what you can expect from me and my podcast, Sip and Salar. So like I said, stories we will not run short of, but time we may. So just make sure you come and join me every single Wednesday for a new episode of Sip and Salar, and we can chat through this thing that we call life together. Yeah! Love you. I love you, love you, love you, love you. Do you want to see my outfit for anyone who's watching? Can you see? I had a little biker jacket on as well. Slay! Slay! It wasn't a biker, it was a racer.